good morning, and welcome to the Disney Morning Show, where it is quite busy. Twitter's
Yes.
down, which is why we started late, because it wouldn't send. Just tons of fun. But what is fun is that I have Tony joining me today. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
You're in charge of comments, so let's say
Oh,
some
okay.
hellos when you have a chance.
Well, here's hi to Nikki. Nikki
Hi,
B.
Nikki.
Hi. I'm only calling her out because she called me out. But Christian thanks us for an amazing stream.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
Gio says good morning. I thought it said happy Friday for a second. Not that means anything to me because we're kind of all over the place. But yeah. And then Dewey
Well,
says he's excited to learn about everything he missed yesterday.
yes. Okay,
Hi to
well,
you.
then let's just jump into it. First, we're going to check out the stock price. So when we last checked in, it was at 103.86, not doing so well, and it is doing worse now. Let me give it a quick refresh, benefit of the doubt. Oh, it went down even lower. 102.93. Let me update the sheet. So yeah, continuing some struggles. Hopefully not to the point where Nelson Peltz will jump in. And yeah, but right now, let's move on to the weather. Wasn't what?
Wasn't it a lot lower when Nelson Peltz jumped in?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
okay.
was.
Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the LP Disney Weather Report. I was lying on the grass of Sunday morning of last week, indulging in my self-defeat. My mind was thugged, all laced and bugged, all twisted, wrong and beat, a comfortable 3 feet deep. Now the fuzzy stare from not being there on a confusing morning week impaired my tribal lunar speak. And of course you can't become if you only say what you would have done. So I missed a million miles of fun. I know it's up for me, making sure I'm not in too deep, keeping versed and on my feet, if you steal my sunshine. Let's get to the weather. Anaheim will crack 70 today with mostly sunny skies, following some storms this morning. Walt Disney World will climb to a high of 73 by lunch, but then it will be windy this afternoon and evening, and it will fall to a low of 59 tonight. Speaking of windy, Castaway Cay is also quite blowy with a temp of 75. Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point is warm today, hanging out around 78, give or take a couple degrees. Disneyland Paris is cloudy tonight with temperatures in the upper 40s. Tokyo will be overcast tomorrow and top out at 56, plus showers will be possible in the evening. Shanghai will reach 64 tomorrow with the sun peeking out at times throughout the day. Finally, Hong Kong will be partly cloudy tomorrow and will make it up to 73. And that will do it for another Disney weather update. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Tony, we have breaking news.
Oh?
Yeah.
Is it that we can't run that many intros in one time and keep our context straight?
No.
Okay.
It's that I can't hit the correct button, and it's also that I'm panicking, and that we have a new poster.
That's
for
not it.
Disney Starlight.
There it is.
Dream the Night Away. Yes. So this is the new poster. It features all the characters, including Coco, which they gave us some new concept art for, which if I hit this fancy button right here, we'll go back to that concept art any second now. There we go. We're learning on the fly, and I need to shrink my screen so that I can see the other thing. So yeah, so new Coco art, this giant, what's this called? Pepita?
Pepita, yeah. I always
haven't
call
seen
it
the movie.
Alebrije,
I'm sure you
but
have.
that's, yeah. It's actually been a while since I've seen Coco, but yeah. I'm excited for this, although, so Chris from TDR Explorer pointed out after the art was released, hey, that's where our float from Japan went. And I'm looking at the Coco one now. I'm like, oh, that's where the Magic Happens float went. So we've heard very scant details on the parade that I was kind of growing concerned that it might pull a Little Mermaid musical adventure and it's going to get delayed and delayed and delayed.
We need to add a new sign to it, so it's going to take another 6 months.
Yeah. So I was wondering, but now if we're just pulling floats from other places, I see how they're going to get it done in time. But we'll see for sure. I'm excited.
Well, we got a bunch of news. Oh, that opens this summer, by the way, at Magic Kingdom. We had a ton of news from South by Southwest over the weekend. And so we'll start we'll go through all of it, but we're going to start with these little beauties, as it were. Why can't I go back and forth? So I'm doing a pull a doobie and complain about the interface for a second. They added this new scenes thing on the side, and so it's making it so that the width isn't what I need it to be, and so I need to now expand my other thing because I can't get rid of this little sidebar over here. And I have side by side because I only have one monitor, unlike Doobie who has like 3. So anyway,
I'm gonna be like Kyle. I'm gonna disclose my shirt really quick and get off of Kyle's rant. Thanks, Roosevelt, for this lovely Toy Story Alien shirt. Where are the droids of those? Are those animatronics? So I have a question about these.
Sure.
Is it BDX or BD-X?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I think this comes from the BDX droids come from, I think it's BD1 in a video game, and then they kind of adapted them. They're slightly different, but so these have appeared in Disneyland before, but they announced over the weekend that they'll be coming to Walt Disney World, Tokyo Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris, and they confirmed that they will be appearing in the movie The Mandalorian and Grogu, which we kind of guessed because they said they would be in an upcoming Star Wars movie, and that was the only one in production. But they've now confirmed that. So that's kind of interesting. I'm sure. Are you excited about these? You love animatronics.
I do. I'm excited to see their handlers more than anything. So,
yeah, those are
the ones we're not supposed to see. Nikki asks, are they around on a regular basis at DL? I believe so.
I don't know. I haven't been there recently. Like you said, I adjusted your article slightly because you said that they've been appearing regularly, and I didn't know if that was true or not. So
I didn't know if I said that because I tried to I couldn't delineate if they meant at a certain point, like a world tour, or if they're going to be at each all at once.
Yeah, Disney doesn't always make things clear.
Hi,
but
Kevin.
They will appear at some point. But then we did get some firm information on this update to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It will feature the Mandalorian and Grogu, so you'll get to go to Cloud City, it looks like, as well as Tatooine. And I do like this new this scrolling thing, Doobie. Very well done. And the wreckage of the second Death Star. And this will be debuting the same day that The Mandalorian and Grogu opens in theaters, which is May 22nd, 2026.
Yep.
We can look forward to that update. Also unclear whether, I imagine this will be exclusive at least for a while. I don't know if they'll eventually make it so that you don't know which you're doing, but
I also want to know, are those 3 destinations in one mission, or are we going to have randomized missions?
Yeah, another thing they did not make clear that I did not bother to point out and be wrong about.
Yep.
They just said that you'd have those. We also got some
thank you for the compliments.
Surprising news from Disneyland. I say Disneyland as in Disneyland Park because the Fantastic Four will not be going over to Avengers Campus at DCA, but they'll be meeting in Tomorrowland this summer. They'll be arriving presumably with the arrival of the movie, which is July 25th, 2025 this year. And they're also going to have their robot Herbie, which you can see here in this concept art. He'll be there as well, along with the other 4. So that's an interesting little development. Kind of fits the theme, that retro futuristic.
I was going to say, what does it say about Tomorrowland, though, and its need for an update when we're, you know what? That takes place in the 60s. Let's go pop it back into Tomorrowland.
Well, I hope that this actually means bigger things. I hope that they go back and just make Tomorrowland a alternate universe future instead of it being this mishmash.
Yep.
That'd be kind of cool. Because, the theory is that the Fantastic Four takes place in the 60s, but an alternate 60s. But we don't know if that's true. Next up, back at Walt Disney World, we got a look at the load station for the Monsters, Inc. Doors coaster.
Yep.
Let me just play this.
We're on in
with
7,
this annoying
6,
noise.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So you'll get, as you can see there, the track will go up and then you'll take off. What do you think?
I think it's cool that everybody, because based on that art, the queue is there. So everybody in the queue will actually see all of this happening. It's not going to be some kind of show effect or anything like that. I like that it kind of takes the door idea from the movie and does the lifting and up. That's one of those ones though where I need to see it in practice with people, because it could be very efficient, but it's that one notch of like, if one thing hinders that operation, it's going to become a slow moving nightmare. So we'll see.
Yeah, I get that. And it also is kind of cool because, like you say, everyone will be able to see it. So even if
Yep.
I decide that I am not built to ride this, I will still be able to go and check out that
Yep.
part of it. But speaking of ride vehicles, which we'll get more to even later, cars. They gave us a look at cars.
Mm-hmm.
These are cars. Yeah, this will be part of the new attraction coming to Magic Kingdom. One of them. There's two of them. And they also gave us this short look. So Alex was at South by, so this is them.
We use as a proof of concept. We
building
want
the
these things
ride.
to feel like they jumped right out of the screen.
I don't know why it froze. Oh yeah, because Twitter's down. That's why.
I also want to know, is it because I've heard it's going to be trackless, and I've heard it's not trackless, and that looks like it could be a smaller scale EMV similar to Indiana Jones or Dinosaur. I don't know what's going on. We'll see.
Well, they show that they're off-roading, so they're taking that into which definitely reminds me of Indiana Jones, the EMV. But we got a little bit closer look in the episode that we'll talk about. I think that's on here, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Next.
Yep.
But we got one more thing to talk about before we get there, and that is Stark Flight Force coming to Disney California Adventure.
Is it called
Twitter
Flight
being
Force?
down,
I thought it was called
not
Flight
doing
Lab.
me any favors. Flight Lab, yep. Sorry, did I say Force?
You said
I'm
Force.
confusing with the Avengers Force thing at the.
Oh, in Paris. Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. But
Well, I
don't know how well this will play. But
the Avengers stuff is not in a bad way, just a personal taste way. The stuff I'm least looking forward to that was all announced. So I didn't really commit those names to memory just yet.
that's fine. Yeah, this is only going to play a bit of it. But yeah, so it's a Kuka arm, but it's going to be, so you're going to move from the different Kuka arms. So there's two different ride mechanisms in place. So you're going to go up to it and then it'll pick you up and you fly. And they've mentioned seeing different heroes and stuff. So it might be like a position of where you land might be a different each Kuka arm might be a different like advisor or something. That's just that part's just speculation, but the rest of it is what they talked about during the presentation. I don't know why is Instagram being mean to me too. I don't know what's going on, but that's all from South by Southwest. But the last tease from South by Southwest was actually that a new episode of we call it Imagineering, different I words.
Yep.
And Tony, it came out today.
Yep.
What can you tell us about
Well,
it?
that has been my morning, and it has been a lot of wait, hold on. This happened for a microsecond of a shot and a montage. Let's take a look at what this is. But it focuses all on the ride vehicles. It's not as Tiana's Bayou Adventure heavy as the last two episodes, because Tiana's Bayou Adventure is open, but they have a slew of new projects coming, so there's not a focus on just one. But they also do spend a lot of time with Bob Gurr, talking about vehicles and attractions of the past, including Adventure Through Inner Space and the Haunted Mansion because of the Omnimover and stuff like that. But as Kyle is showing off now, a lot can be said about what is not said. And we do see mock-ups and what appears to be programming and test footage for Avengers Infinity Defense, the major e-ticket coming to Avengers Campus, which we haven't got a whole ton of details on over the last few years. So to see footage, and I presume it's from that because in the corner of it, there's a California Adventure logo.
That too. Well, this ride vehicle looks very much like in the show. They show this, and there's another thing that I screen grabbed where you see something falling and it looks like there's like a Loki statue.
Yeah, from VFX backgrounds, you could tell it's from what it looks like is just like the placeholder for a layout. So I assume they're going to get Tom Hiddleston or some sort of double or an AI rendering of him, perhaps. But
but yeah, I like this doors opening as you go from screen to screen, of course.
Nikki says, "Oh, she needs to watch it if Bob Gurr is in it." Yeah, he's in there. He talks about
he gets a little emotional.
Fire truck. He does get a little emotional. He talks about the fire truck, the monorail, the Main Street vehicles, the Autopia cars, all the cars.
So yeah, I definitely check that out. Tony will have another article soon after the show with a closer look at some of because even so there's new looks at things, but then there's also some cool Easter eggs if you've ever been interested in how different existing rides work. Like we've kind of figured out, especially a lot of fans kind of did breakdowns of how Millennium Falcon works, but they
actually
show you the whole thing, and that's pretty interesting, even if you kind of already knew how it worked.
I will say that I didn't put that in the article because that's also covered in the Imagineering story.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they full on stand back and watch it rotate, which I think is relatively new. But yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to transition away from the parks. We're going to talk about movies because tickets for Snow White are now on sale. And as along with that, our friends at Alamo Drafthouse have unveiled a special menu for the event, as well as some merchandise. If you're not familiar with Alamo Drafthouse, they're dine-in theaters, and so they often have, for when big movies open, they do this. Sometimes it's merch, sometimes just the menu, but in this case you get both. So let's go through some of this. You have I thought I had notes for this. Oh yeah, the Princess Pesto Pizza, the Gemstone Salad, Apple Pie Shake, and Red Apple Punch. And then they also have, so those are the menu items. They also have, there's the pizza. So there's this picnic basket that you can get. It comes with a thermos. And you can add this to your ticket when you order, and then you just pick it up at the box office when you go. Ditto this blanket that turns into a hood, as this girl is displaying. Nice and cozy in the theater, and take it home with you. Again, you can add that to your ticket, pick it up at the box office. And then they're also going to have this pin set that has Snow White, the Evil Queen, and this book that opens and closes. This one you have to order from your seat in the theater when you're watching Snow White, it sounds like. So, slightly different thing there. Tickets are on sale now for Snow White at not just Alamo, but all theaters. And that opens on March 21st. And I'm sure Tony will be there. So, Tony, while I was watching the South by Southwest thing, you were at a special panel about Space Mountain. So, of course, the biggest takeaway from this Space Mountain thing, all about Space Mountain, was about Indiana Jones.
So I'll go back on that a little bit. So it was a panel about the anniversary of Space Mountain, but and I keep comparing it to the Disney Plus show Behind the Attraction, where we're going to talk about this classic attraction only to talk about new attractions. And it was very much, here's 20 minutes about Space Mountain and its legacy at Disney World, and then blip through the other Space Mountains, and then it was like, well, let's talk about how it inspired other things. And it was Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, Slinky Dog Dash, basically any coaster attraction at Walt Disney World except Rock and Roller Coaster. They never mentioned Rock and Roller Coaster once. I wonder why. Now, thank you, Fred, for agreeing with me. Has to just stick with the original animated. Just enjoy. But at a certain point, they were talking about the future of thrill attractions at Walt Disney World. And they mentioned the Cars Road Rally race coming, the Monsters, Inc. coaster coming. They teased Villains Land, but did nothing other than say it's still coming. And then they talked about Indiana Jones, where Chris Beatty said, oh, and by the way, we are not lifting anything from Anaheim. This is going to be 100% original for Animal Kingdom that fits within the pillars of the park. So that's him. Yeah. So the fact that I know a lot of people have responded saying, well, it's the same IP and it's the same track layout. But I think the takeaway is you're not going to get the effects that we already know in Anaheim. So I don't think we're going to get the boulder based on that. I don't think we're going to get the darts. I don't think we're going to get the giant snake animatronic. So when he says nothing is lifted from Anaheim, I honestly think it's going to be a completely new under the groundwork that is the same IP and the same track layout. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could change the track too.
Do we have a rampant speculation banner? And they could change the track. For all we know, they could blow out a side of the building and extend it longer.
We don't need a banner. You can just talk. So Tony's Rant Show. There you go.
There you go. Rampant speculation. The pillars of the park also include mythical or like believed beasts. So if you tie it into indie exploring, like some mythical, dare I say, dragon of the tropical Americas, you could also repurpose some dinosaur animatronics as well.
That's true.
Just saying. So
definitely not our dino.
Yep.
That's not what I want.
Geo says, so no rolling rock, then that would be my assumption based on what Chris Beatty said as well. Doobie says maybe the ice machine will return. I guess they could physically lift it and restore it and then put it in Florida. So I don't know.
You know, you just gave me a great idea. Since they are expanding alcohol to more places at the park, maybe Bengal Barbecue should serve rolling rock.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But let's talk about we talked a little bit about Mando and Grogu earlier and Disney legend Jon Favreau at South by Southwest, but he's busy with another project.
So first I need to apologize to Fred because he said, I don't know if you guys heard, but Jon Favreau, I didn't bring that up because I knew we were going to talk about it. But yeah, Jon Favreau is apparently working on a Oswald the Lucky Rabbit series for Disney Plus. I don't know if that will strike fear into you or inspiration and hope. I lean towards the latter, as long as he does not try and make Oswald a photorealistic bunny, but pays more homage to the classic era of animation that Oswald is from, where everything's tubular and stretchy and squashy and
totally tubular.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see it, but I think too many people are correlating Oswald the Lucky Rabbit with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because it is supposed to be a live action hybrid series. But I think people need to get the word rabbit out of their head and disassociate from that so they can think of something new.
Duck.
Yes.
Well, before we move on to our next segment, we're going to take a look at the Disney Plus Top 10. This is set to my TV 14, as you can see here by my TV 14. We have Win or Lose, the Angry Bird movie.
What?
And Endgame, Infinity War, Regular Avengers, Freaky Friday making its way, and they're good for that. Homecoming, Age of Ultron, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Wakanda Forever. So slightly different Marvel mix. I think we're safe to check the TVMA one.
Should we call it Marvel Plus at this point?
Yeah. Daredevil Born Again is actually number one. You also have The Devil and Rudy Frankie, Paradise, and the rest is the same. So there you go.
Is it One Republic that does that song Paradise?
Coldplay.
I
think that's
okay.
Paradise. Yeah, that's Coldplay.
Yeah. Every time anybody brings up that show, that plays in my head.
Well, you should sing Phil Collins instead, because that's actually featured in the show.
Okay. Doobie says the Angry Tony movie. That's every Friday. Nikki, Go Paradise. And then Fred says he started watching season 3 of Daredevil last night.
Nice.
Stitch is finally out of the top. About time.
Yeah.
Geo with
Stitch
a deep cut.
Glitch.
Be fun if if Al Michaels made an appearance on that show.
AI Michaels is
I need AI Michaels.
Now we trade him. We're not going to buy him back from screw you, Brian, whatever his name is. Anyway. So Tony, at your
what
space
is the swirling supposed to be?
They're doing the Jolly Trolley.
Okay. I would think that's more of a, but
at your Space Mountain event, they actually did talk a little bit about Space Mountain.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Can you talk about, you did a recap of your event.
I did a recap.
Want to recap your recap real fast?
Yeah, I'll recap my recap real fast. Basically, it goes on about, because this was exclusively for D23 Gold members who paid for the price to be there. But it's really hard to teach D23 Gold members new trivia and stuff that they don't know already. But there was still some stuff to be learned. I, for one, and this is one thing I talk about in the recap, the steel beams on the exterior are not a design flourish, but they're structurally integral to the building, because normally they would be on the interior of the mountain, but they chose to put them on the outside and make it that landmark look, just so they could project stuff onto the inside. Otherwise, that would get that. So I never knew that was. I knew obviously the steel was necessary, but they just flipped it inside out compared to what it is. There's other stuff I talk about that they learned, like the queue and why it's so narrow and fart smelly. There's a reason for it.
There's a reason for the fart
Yeah,
smell.
not necessarily the fart smell, but why it's just concise. Somehow we learned things about Big Thunder Mountain, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, including what Wyatt Winter, one of the Imagineers who led the project team, says is the very best seat on that attraction. So go read the article and find out. Could I tell you here? Sure could, but I'm not gonna.
How happy were you that you got a turning red patch?
I enjoyed it. I was just trying to figure out the connection. So there
That's
isn't
fine.
one.
And then this is just the Tony segment, but you got an interview with the people behind KIF.
I did, yeah. Season 3 is coming out this weekend. Sorry, season 2. There is a season 3 coming eventually, but right now we're starting season 2. But we did talk about season 2, season 3, and even a lot of season 1. All about what to expect and what's carrying over from season 1, and all kinds of callbacks and fun. If you watch that show, we talk at length about how we were rewarded for watching it in order, even though it is absolutely unnecessary to watch them in order. But you will, different jokes and stuff will make sense if you do.
Nice. Thank you.
It's my understanding you will be able to hear the interview in an upcoming podcast episode as well.
You will, yes. Listen, make sure you subscribe to the Laughing Place on Balance podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and probably wherever else you get podcasts.
And the rest.
Speaking of different places to consume things, Tony, if I don't have a Disney Plus subscription, but I really want to check out Win or Lose, the first episode, where could I possibly go?
The first episode is available on YouTube right now to anybody who knows how to access YouTube. You don't have to have a subscription or anything like that. Just pop it on, watch it. As of yesterday, it had about 500,000 views. So get the word out.
And in related news, we'll talk about it again tomorrow, but we did also just find out the first 3 episodes of Andor from season 1 are going to be on YouTube as well to tease people ahead of season 2. So it's a new thing that they've been doing, trying to get the word out about their exclusives.
So I need to point out these 2 comments back to back. Judgy Tony, and then Doobie judges me by saying, I don't like Tony's pronunciation of integral. It also depends on what context it is. It's very much like Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean Cruise. I always say like integral.
But say the name of the new Avengers ride coming, the e-ticket one.
Avengers Infinity Defense or Defense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I wanted you to do. Thank you.
Defense is also like football. Defense. It's another one. It's another alternating pronunciation.
Well, if you need zombies lo-fi beats to relax and study to, that can now be, those are now available to you. This is available for streaming. There's only 5 tracks, though. It's Someday, Flesh and Bone, Come On Out, Like the Zombies Do in My Year, all done in the lo-fi style. So you can go check those out, Spotify, or again, wherever you stream music. And now we have a... well, you know what? I'm going to skip this because it's on Twitter.
Oh,
let's just move right along to. All right, Tony, are you ready?
Sure.
On this day in 1971, someone was born. Here's a poem about them. There once was a man with great flair, whose charm made him quite the heartthrob to spare.
Ric Flair?
A world... What?
Ric Flair?
No.
Oh, okay.
In a world full of dreams, he joined magical scenes with a voice that could dazzle the air. Anyway, his Disney credits include $1 Million Arm and one of your favorites, Big City Greens.
John Hamm?
That is John Hamm. If you needed to, I was also going to tell you about Mad Men and 30 Rock, but you didn't need it.
If I didn't get it, I better have gotten it 30 Rock. But
St. Louis's very own John Hamm.
I remember he's in Big City Greens, but I can't think of who he voices right now. It's a very quick moment, though.
On this day in 1978, a movie was released. A kid with powers quite grand escapes to a far-off land. With aliens and spells, she rings magical bells to return and make her stand.
Is that Escape to
Witch
Mountain?
You're close. Try a different one.
Return from Witch Mountain?
That is Return from Witch Mountain, yes.
I guess that was the sequel name. My other option was Conquest of the Planet of the Witch Mountain.
I enjoy that. Next up, normally I would not include Hollywood records releases, but this was listed on this day in Disney history, so I might as well bring it up. On this day in 1998, an album was released. One of the first rock shows I remember going to. This band had two big hits, one really big hit, and one side, and like a second hit that was later sampled by MGK and Camila Cabello. Anyone could see that the road that they walk on is paved in gold.
It's Fastball.
There's Fastballs,
Yeah.
all the pain that money can buy, for some reason listed on the Disney history. But yes,
What's the second one? Not so
Out
big
of My
hit.
Head.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the one that MGK sampled. Then they changed
Okay.
it to Bad Things. I only want to do bad things to you instead of I only want to do good things to you, or never want to do bad things but you. Is what the lyric is.
Clever.
Anyway, this day in the year 2000, the movie was released. A crew took off with a goal to explore Red Dusty Bowl. Through space did they glide, with hope as their guide, to find what could heal or control. Stars Gary Sinise and Don Cheadle.
Oh,
Directed by
that's Mission to
Brian De
Mars.
Palma. Mission to Mars, yes.
I still love that if that movie was successful, rumor has it we would have a very different mission space.
Yeah, that makes sense. And finally, on this day in the year 2006, a man quite perplexed by his fate turns canine through a twist of strange fate. With fur and a bark, he roams through the dark until he returned to his state.
Is that the Shaggy Dog with Tim Allen?
That is the Tim Allen Shaggy Dog remake. There it is.
Doobie says he loves Mission to Mars. I preferred the movie Rocket to the Moon, but
What about Rocket Man with
Harlan Hal,
Williams.
whatever, Harlan Williams. Yeah. I remember seeing that once and enjoying it, but I was also in like 7th grade, so
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do a quick refresh of the parks blog. I don't see anything, and I would refresh Twitter, but that seems like a waste of time. So we're going to say goodbye for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this busy and broken episode of the Disney Morning Show. We'll be back at 4 o'clock for Parks Talk. Or I won't be, but they will be. So be sure to subscribe, ring the bell so you know whenever we go live. And then we'll be back in some iteration for the Disney Morning Show tomorrow morning. And we'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.
bye-bye.
Enjoy National Nap Day.